So good morning. I am Ru-Lee Weller-Passman, and I use they, them pronouns. I am a 5'3" white and fat person with short brown hair and blue eyes. I'm wearing black pants, a black long sleeve shirt, and a green botanical button-down. So before I talk at you for 20 minutes, I like to always make sure that this is a space inclusive of all mind and body types. If you need to move, to rock back and forth, to get up and stretch, to walk laps in the back of the room, please do not hesitate. If you need a moment of silence, you can step out, and I promise I will not take it personally. Whether you have a stiff leg, a neurodivergent mind, or simply feel a bit restless today, you are welcome to bring all of yourself into this sacred space with us. So when you think of your inner self, the source of your awareness, the place where you make decisions and feel your feelings and hold everything that makes you, you, where do you think that self lives? You have 3 options for how to answer this. In your body, in your mind, or in your soul. I know it's not entirely fair to force you to choose just one, but consider it. There's no wrong answers, and all 3 lead to the same conversation in the end. Your body, your mind, or your soul? Show of hands. Who feels like they live in their body? Interesting. Who feels they live in their mind? Yep. Who feels they live in their soul? Okay, we have a few. So mind was overwhelmingly the front runner. We had a few soul and no bodies. Fascinating how wide a gap there is there, isn't it? It is, of course, impossible to divide a human being into 3 parts, or 7, or 52. I say this even as a person who is chronically addicted to personality tests. They can be fun and even deeply informative. I love learning about myself through the lens of my Myers-Briggs personality type, for instance. But I still believe that there is no personality test, no division of pieces that can adequately contain the watercolor nonsense of a human life. With that said, I do believe that these somewhat arbitrary divisions and types can help us think about how we communicate with each other. They might even help us better understand how we communicate with ourselves. For instance, when was the last time your mind, your soul, and your body felt aligned? Now, I don't say aligned to mean perfectly in balance. I'm not sure that's possible to achieve with even one of them, much less all 3. But a chaplain once said to me, "We talk a lot about balance, but I find seeking balance is often just another form of perfectionism. Instead, consider harmony." Harmony can cover for the occasional sour note or one instrument dropping a few bars, all those little imperfections that make up human lives. Harmony doesn't need or want everything to be lined up like ducks in a row. What it wants is a conversation, a fluid, flexible relationship between each element of the song where they move together as much as possible. So, when was the last time you felt your body, mind, and soul harmonizing? If you're like me, I'm not sure I can remember a time like that. Or maybe you can, but it was longer ago than you'd like. In part, it's hard to harmonize because we think of ourselves as singular. One mind that happens to be puppeting a human body, one soul living in a mortal brain. But just think, marvel even, at all the tiny pieces that work together to make a body that walks and speaks and dances and jumps into overdrive at night when it hears an unusual sound downstairs. Or, if you'd rather, marvel at how much gray matter and nerve endings and electricity have to interweave to keep your brain working properly. And let's not even start to wonder how much makes up the soul, the spirit, or the metaphorical heart of a person. Have you heard the saying, "We contain multitudes"? I believe its original point was noticing the way we can be terrifically inconsistent or disagree with ourselves at times. But I like to think of it in a broader sense, too. My body contains tiny crystals in my ears that allow me to balance. My mind contains the lyrics to the entire soundtrack of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And my heart contains a seemingly insatiable desire to write, everything from sermons to poems to works of fiction. Even with just 3 examples, I contain multitudes, and so do you. Pamela Cooper White writes, "Notions of being oneself and having one God have too often reified and reinforced the domination of one culture, one story, one gender, one race, one normative discourse. Awareness of the multiplicity of ourselves, one another, and the divine can interrupt such dominations and open new vistas for empathy and creative collaboration." So, let's open a vista or two today. I am by no means a mental health specialist, an expert in somatic therapy, or a primary care physician. I suppose you might say I'm more trained than most on the needs of the soul, but even with my divinity school work, I am by no means an expert. I don't even fully know what an expert in the soul would look like, to be honest. That said, I am particularly aware of what happens when mind, soul, and body get too out of sync. In the first place, I am disabled with a chronic pain condition. I dealt with doctors dismissing my symptoms for years, teaching me to mistrust the signals my body was sending me. I struggle with many activities that others don't, and it sometimes leads me to see my body as an enemy force, pulling me down and away from the things I want to do. I'm in a constant process of learning to collaborate with my body, even, or especially, when I find it more frustrating than forthcoming. I've also fought with my mind. I've gone through some significant mental health struggles this year for some reason. I have new diagnoses like obsessive compulsive disorder that are simultaneously eye-opening and disheartening. And I already have a neurodivergent mind with particular strengths and limitations. I am relearning how to cooperate with my mind through all of its newfound quirks, giving it the rest and extra care it needs so it can take care of me in turn. And my soul, well, my soul is often the one to take a back seat in the midst of all of this. My soul might long for time to pull tarot cards or a chance to do some sacred reading practice, or just sit in absolute silence for a minute or two. But my body is often too exhausted to spare energy for tarot cards or deep reading, and my mind sometimes fills long silences with cruel criticism. I am, you might say, a person who often struggles to harmonize with myself. I share this not to unload on you or to inspire sympathy. I only share it to reinforce that this is something universal. We're all down here together trying to build rickety bridges between the pieces of ourselves. And even though we're talking about a tricky moving target that we often miss, I want to stress that none of this makes us broken. It makes us human. Poet Chen Chen writes, "If we could communicate fully, there would be no need to communicate. If we could love perfectly, there would be no need to love. If we could finish grieving, there would be no need to live. If we could touch completely, there would be no need." I'm not suggesting that there's a quick fix for this feeling of misalignment, or even that there should be a quick fix. What I am suggesting is that in the jagged pieces and rough edges, there is a shared challenge that can help draw our pieces together, even briefly. The body, the mind, and the soul are all struggling to make sense of themselves, and therein lies some common ground. So, this might seem a little strange to do in the middle of a sermon, but I'd like for us to try something. Make sure you're comfortable. You're welcome to do this exercise while standing, sitting, or even lying on the floor if you'd like. Find the best place for your unique body. If you're comfy doing so, close your eyes or soften your gaze. Let's all take one big, deep, magic breath together. Now, I'd like you to choose something that has been bothering you within your body. It could be an achy back, might be a sense of restlessness. Whatever sensation in your body seems loudest in this moment, that's probably the one to choose. Rather than dodging away from this sensation, rather than fighting it, approach it with curiosity. What thoughts come up as you meet the sensation where it's at? Does your mind shy away from the physical sensation? Does it try to suppress it? What thoughts come up? Do you find yourself wishing that you could just fix it? Do you imagine what it would be like if you weren't experiencing this discomfort? Now, and this might be trickier, reach deep into your soul. Or if it's easier, think of it as your metaphorical heart. What emotions come up as you think of this physical discomfort? What does the discomfort remind you of? What does it call you to do? Okay, let's pause for a moment. If they were closed, open your eyes. Just now, for a small moment, your body, mind, and spirit all spoke with each other. Now, I chose a more uncomfortable physical sensation to start with because I find it's a lot easier to notice your body's challenges than it is to notice its strengths. If I'd asked you to identify one place in your body that felt good, that might have seemed trickier. Or if you have anything that causes widespread discomfort like I do, that might have felt downright impossible. But it is, of course, possible to do this exercise with lighter things. Let's try it again, but starting with your mind instead of your body. Close your eyes again and call to mind something that's bringing you joy right now. It might be thinking about your family or someone specific in your chosen family. It might be an event coming up that you're really looking forward to. It can even be something that feels small, like a video game or a book that's captured your heart recently. Hold that thought in your mind. Where in your body do you feel the thought of this joyful thing? In your head? Your belly? Your hands? Does the thought inspire you to move in any particular way? It could be as small as rocking in your seat or waving your hands gently. Or it might feel like standing or even like jumping up and down. It might make you feel self-conscious, and that's okay too. You don't have to follow the impulse, although you are welcome to. Just notice. What about your soul? Besides joy, what other feelings come to the surface with this joyful thought? Does it remind you of anything else joyful, or even a story you've read or watched? What does it call you to do? For our final round, let's attend to the soul. What is something in your spirit that feels particularly in need of care? Maybe it's a difficult period of some aspect of your life right now. Maybe it's grief, or joy, or rage. Maybe it's a desire to start or restart a spiritual practice of some kind. What thoughts does this feeling or idea bring up? Do you find yourself embracing it or trying to distract yourself away from it? What action might you take this week to care for it? Can you carve out time to sit with a challenging feeling? Can you promise to find time for that spiritual practice you're craving? Finally, move your attention to the body. What sensations arise as you hold on to this soul feeling? Where in your body do you feel this pull, this desire, or this discomfort? Does it draw you towards a movement, however subtle or big? What would it feel like to practice this movement? Or, if you're self-conscious, to practice it later in the comfort of your home. Sit with that soul feeling and the thoughts and body signals it pulls up. All right, go ahead and open your eyes if they were closed. Cole Arthur Riley calls spirituality a determination to see the divine in everything, a sacred attention. By intentionally drawing sensations, thoughts, and emotions through these three realms of body, mind, and soul, we might find our attention caught by the sacred in-betweens, the overlapping parts of the tangled Venn diagram of us. How possible is it really to feel a distant ache and not wonder where it came from? To have a pleasant thought and not feel your heart lighten, ever so slightly? Further, it reminds us that even within ourselves, we are not alone. We contain multitudes, and even when one aspect of us seems to be fighting the rest of us, we have resilient bodies, dedicated minds, and eager souls ready to help however they can. Perhaps we will never perfectly harmonize, but all of our pieces are ready to keep trying. In her book, Tea and Cake with Demons, Adriana Limbach suggests, the miracle is that all things know how to become. We contain our own completeness, as well as pure potential. We are simultaneously individual threads and a vast, glorious image. In short, we are each of us a tapestry. This week and beyond, may you take the time to listen just a bit deeper to the pieces of yourself. May you feel your mind, body, and soul reaching for each other for comfort and guidance. And may you find small pockets of harmony within yourself. And may those pieces speak back readily and eagerly. So mote it be.